I know that he's a maggot. I know that he just has to do maggot things. He saw Charlie's corpse, just like he saw Andrew Breitbart's corpse, and it's just irresistible for him. That's his nature. But the speed of it and the statement of it, instantly, I'll pick up the bloody mic against the undeniable backdrop of how much Charlie could not stand him. It's just stunning, right? The persistence of it is stunning. Like, to know Ben Shapiro is to eventually come to a point where you simply are forced to acknowledge the fact that he's just a different species. He's just different. We can't understand him because it's a different species. A lion cannot understand the habits of a worm. Ben's entire existence, by the way, if you have not been paying attention, is calling for perpetual wars and picking fights from the safety of his home studio. I do not care what any person says, okay? That little man belongs in a locker. That's where he belongs. Ben should be given a swirly every single day of his life. Ben Shapiro's head belongs in a toilet permanently. That is a scientific fact, and I will not let anybody dispute it. That's just the nature of what he is. And so Milo Yiannopoulos shared this back and forth. He wrote, Ben Shapiro began to secretly commission hit jobs. On Turning Point USA a decade ago, Charlie Kirk knew. We met and we talked about it and discussed strategy. Kirk and I weren't friends for long, but while we were, all he talked about was how amazing Candace was and how effing evil Ben is. And he showed the messages, okay? Milo says, this is Ben. It's his fingerprints all over it. Can I post it? Charlie says, yes, but I want to allow this to play out before I say something, but go ahead. Could use your advice on this, honestly. And he's asking Milo for advice on how to deal with Ben because he was, again, commissioning people, like he says, to go after him. I was there. This is the true story, okay? And it is, therefore, the worst kept secret in American politics that Charlie Kirk did not like Ben Shapiro. It's a fact. So I shared more private messages so that people can understand how deranged it is that Ben is so shameless that he showed up to Charlie's funeral, $1 million, and elects himself the great defender of his legacy. I'm going to defend Charlie Kirk. And in the name of Charlie Kirk, I'm now going to attack his friends. I'm going to attack his friends over the topic of Israel, a topic which Charlie had actually changed his mind on. That's the reality, point blank. And here's what I shared. I shared Charlie backing me up when Ben treated me publicly like crap, saying, stand for truth. The people are with you. Thank you, Charlie. I will, and I will continue to do that because the people are on the side of truth. And I said, I know. I've been through it enough with enough of these to know that truth always wins in the end. And he then laughs and wrote BTW. He was standing on a couch and I wrote, haha, so good. And Charlie said regarding Ben, he is unhinged. Stay the course. This is how he constantly spoke about Ben. Like I said, I have about 300 messages between me and Charlie to that effect. Charlie was building a 501c3 charity. Okay. He wanted to be on college campus. That is not what Ben Shapiro was doing. Ben Shapiro was trying to take Andrew Breitbart's legacy and recreate it by manufacturing a scandal with the Daily Wire. They should have been natural allies. But then Ben had to be Ben. He got jealous as Charlie got bigger, and he went behind the scenes with his connections to the donors and started squeezing Charlie and trying to control who he could speak to. Another thing to note is that Ben Shapiro has a very particular kink, if you haven't caught on now, which was on display on that AmFest stage, actually. He's really into public humiliation rituals. He doesn't just want to disagree with his friends in private. He wants to try to destroy them behind the scenes, but he also insists on surprising his friends on camera and putting them on the spot and demanding their allegiance to his viewpoints. Like, he literally fancies himself on an episode of To Catch a Predator, but doesn't realize that he is the predator. Like, you just keep catching yourself being an immoral piece of shit. That's what he initially did to Megyn Kelly on her tour, no less, on stage. It's what he did to me. He infamously stood up on that table while I was employed by a company that he was a part owner of. And I find out how he feels about me, calls me a faux sophisticate because I tweeted that genocide was always wrong. That was my big offense. For some reason, he gets off on trying to publicly humiliate people who simply hold a different viewpoint than him, right? He doesn't know that outside of the Pharisees, deceit and betrayal actually doesn't register as cool to the general public. You don't look cool. Also, get your dirty feet off of the table. So what Ben does is he likes to prep and he likes to put his notes and he likes to plan to embarrass people that are his allies, who think that they're his friends, okay? Take, for example, what he just did to Michael Knowles. I want you to watch this. Ben knows going into this that Michael Knowles is the godfather to my daughter. Okay. So he knows that there is a literal spiritual connection there because of that. Like, we take that very seriously. We selected Michael Knowles for a reason. He's a strong and faithful Catholic, and he's a good person. So for Ben, when he hears that, when he knows this information, for him to move Michael Knowles to publicly denounce me, to say something about Candace, that would give him a literal high. Like, that's irresistible to him. He needs that. He is just like a little gremlin. He just needs the evil. So watch what he does during a public discussion with Michael. Take a listen.
So if Candace Owens decides to slander the widow of Charlie Kirk, I think that people have a moral duty to say that this is a bad thing, even if they are quote unquote friends with those people. And I find it an act.
But let's take that further. So obviously one should state one's view and say, you know, Erica's great and the attacks on her are not right.
Well, Michael, I'll just ask you straight up. Is Candace Owens doing something evil by attacking Erica Kirk?
I think that it's wrong to attack Erica Kirk.
No, say the sentence with her name in it.
I'm not going to dance like a puppet for the podcast wars.
You don't have to dance like a puppet, but you are dancing pretty quickly. I mean, there's a lot of tap dancing happening.
No, I don't think there's any tap dancing.
Even if you aren't
think
interested in the podcast wars, the podcast
and I think
wars are
the
interested
people
in
who
you.
are leading the invective against Candace are her biggest publicists.
He wants him to say the sentence because it has nothing to do with Erica. Erica's just the person he's using. He's not friends with Erica. He's never been friends with Erica, never been friends with Charlie. It's about me. And this is just his tool to try to get Michael to bend the knee publicly. He is losing. The neocons are losing badly. Truth is their kryptonite.